This week in college football is brought to you by Rotel Tomatoes, Dove Men Plus Care, Old Spice, Lowe's, and Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. We start things off as always with our top 25. This week presented by Rotel Tomatoes. Pair Rotel Tomatoes with Velveeta cheese for an explosive queso dip that will blow you away. Rotel Tomatoes and Velveeta cheese. Man, that's good. This week, Ohio State, they beat Tulsa handily and they stay on top of the polls at number 1. Number 2, Clemson falls to Georgia Tech by 4 points and they fall down to number 5. LSU, Georgia, Notre Dame all handily defeated the teams they played, Central Michigan, South Carolina, Purdue, and they all move up one spot after Clemson falls by 3. Next on the top 25, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Penn State, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Georgia Tech moves up one spot to number 6 after defeating Clemson 49-45. In Death Valley, North Carolina dropped a spot even though they knocked off Virginia. Penn State moves up to number 8 after beating Auburn at home. Oklahoma falls a spot after beating a really subpar Nebraska team this season. And Tennessee moves up to number 10, up 3 spots as they improved to 3-0 after beating Minnesota 28-0 at home in Knoxville on Saturday. 11 Florida, 12 Auburn, 13 FSU, 14 Missouri, 15 Kansas State. Kansas State jumps up 4 spots after defeating Nevada and after they had dropped down to 19 after losing to Auburn. Missouri jumps up 1 spot after beating FCS Southeast Missouri. Florida State falls 1 spot after losing to Wake Forest. Auburn only falls 2 after a hard-fought game to Penn State that was way closer than the final score turned it out to be. And Florida jumps up 1 spot up to number 11 after defeating Alabama. App State sitting at 16, they're 3-0. Minnesota falls down to number 17, and they're 2-1 after losing to Tennessee in a really brutal affair. Texas jumps up to number 18 after defeating Arkansas. Iowa State loses to UNLV, they're 1-2, they fall down 3 spots. And Wisconsin, coming off a bye week, they jump up to number 20. And here are the final 5 in your top 25. Indiana up 2 spots to number 21 after last-second win over Cincinnati. UCF falls 5 spots into 22 after getting obliterated by Louisville on Friday night. Michigan, they're 2-1 and they're back in the polls after being ranked last week. Louisiana, 3-0. They obliterated Ohio on Friday night. Didn't move. And Illinois, a surprise story of the week. 4-0 for the first time since 2011. Not ranked last week. First time they've been ranked in 11 years. But the last time that they were ranked, in 2011, they started 6-0. And they were infamously the first FBS Power 5 team to finish 6-6. And don't forget, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Chris Bryant leads the second-place Chicago Cubs to take on Yadier Molina and the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals with the division race tightening up, and the Cardinals with a half-game lead in the NL Central. Coverage starts on ESPN at 6 p.m. Eastern, with Baseball Tonight, Sunday Night Countdown presented by Chevrolet. Then, live from St. Louis, Matt Vasgersian and Alex Rodriguez have the call live on ABC at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now don't go anywhere, we'll be right back after this commercial break and a message from our sponsors.
This looks great.
Thank you.
Good.
When you add Velveeta and Rotel tomatoes and green chilies to chicken and pasta, it's so good, it'll blow them away.
Man, that's good.
Man, that's good.
Velveeta and Rotel.
Man, that's good.
Welcome back. It's time to break down the top 25 by conference, presented by Dove Men Plus Care. Be comfortable in your own skin. The American has 1 team in UCF. The ACC has 4 teams: Clemson, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Florida State. The Big Ten: Ohio State, Penn State, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois. And the Big 12: Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Texas. Not much to see here. Conference USA, nothing. FBS Independence, Notre Dame, obviously. MAC, nothing. Mountain West, nothing. And, well, we get quite a bit here in the back three. The Pac-12, surprisingly, has no teams ranked in the top 25. But the SEC has LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, and Missouri. And the Sun Belt, surprisingly, has 2 teams in Appalachian State and Louisiana. And to break it down quickly here by number, Conference USA, Pac-12, MAC, and Mountain West all have 0. The American and the Independents each have 1. The Sun Belt has 2. The Big 12 has 3. The ACC has 4. Surprisingly, the Big 10 has the most with 7. And the SEC comes in second place this week with 6 teams ranked in the top 25. And now we have our top 25 dropouts, presented by Old Spice. Smell like a man. Man. First up on the list, Alabama. Alabama, 0-3, Alabama. I have no words to describe how I feel about this. Alabama, unranked for the first time since 2007. This team, who knows how far they've fallen. Maybe they'll be back in the polls later this year. Maybe they won't. Move on to Cincinnati, who's 1-2. Just lost Indiana in a really close game. Could have gone either way at the end. If they play well, they could make it back into the polls. And now we have the outside looking in, presented by Lowe's. Do it better for less. Start at Lowe's. A lot of undefeated teams on this list. The only team not undefeated on the list is Iowa, who's 2-1, and honestly could borderline make it because of the wins that they've had. The other teams on the list, Wake Forest, who just knocked off top 15 Florida State, Coastal Carolina, who knocked off then number 1 Alabama, Fresno State, and Navy. This list has a lot of good teams on there, and if they all keep it up, they could all be looking at rankings if everything goes their way. And finally, we have the big game summary of the week, presented by Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. At noon, Texas Tech renews their rivalry in Austin. The 18th ranked Longhorns take on the visiting Red Raiders on ABC. Then, number 5 Clemson heads to Raleigh to take on NC State at 3:30 on ESPN to battle for the Textile Trophy. Oklahoma at 7:30 taking on Big 12 foe West Virginia on ESPN in a night game under the lights in Norman. And ESPN Saturday Night Football, Fowler and Herbstreit on the call as number 6 Georgia Tech takes on the number 7 ranked North Carolina Tar Heels in Atlanta on ABC. We hope you enjoyed these games and this next upcoming week of college football action. Stay tuned next week for more This Week in College Football on ESPN.